Today, we're going to dive into this incredible ancient story about power, betrayal, and what happens when pride goes completely off the rails. It's a cautionary tale from a historian we only know as the Chronicler, and it asks a question that, you'll see, is just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago.
And really, that's the question that drives this whole thing, right? We're going to look at a king who starts his life as this massive symbol of hope, but ends it as a pretty chilling warning.
I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a great tragedy, doesn't it? A baby, literally the last of his royal line, is miraculously saved from being killed, only to grow up and commit this just unthinkable act of betrayal. This is the story of King Jehoash.
So, to really get why this betrayal is so shocking, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning, to a kingdom that was right on the brink of being completely wiped out.
Okay, so the situation is just dire. You have this Queen Athaliah. Her son, the king, has just been killed, and she decides she's going to secure her own power in the most brutal way you can imagine. She orders the execution of the entire royal family, every single heir. Her goal? To literally wipe the Davidic line off the map so that absolutely no one can challenge her for the throne.
But then, in this moment of just incredible bravery, a high priest steps in. He manages to snatch the baby, Jehoash, right out from under the massacre and hides him away. He preserves the very last hope for the entire dynasty.
And just think about the patience and the planning this took. For 6 whole years, the future king is raised in total secrecy. Then, when he's just 7 years old, the priest stages a coup. He surrounds the temple with guards, brings the little boy out, and in this incredibly dramatic ceremony crowns him king. And when the usurper queen, Athaliah, hears all the noise and comes to check it out, well, it's too late. She's caught, she's executed, and the kingdom has its rightful king back.
So, the stage is set. We've got our hero, this child king, guided by his wise mentor. And for a long, long time, everything goes incredibly well.
With the high priest right there at his side, the young king Jehoash is doing everything right. He's bringing the nation back together, he's getting their worship back on track, and he's pulling the kingdom back from the brink. It's really a golden age of restoration.
And a great example of his early leadership is what he did with the temple. It was the heart of the nation, but it was falling apart, and the way they were funding repairs just wasn't working. So Joash comes up with this simple, brilliant solution. Put a donation box right at the temple gate. And the people's response is just overwhelming. Money pours in, the temple gets fully restored, and the king is seen as this amazing problem solver, a uniter, a truly good king.
But this is where our story takes that dark, sudden turn. The hero's journey is about to become a villain's origin story.
It's just a few words on a page, but those words change absolutely everything. The king's mentor, his moral compass, the man who saved his life, is gone.
And without that guidance, the change is, wow, it's immediate and it is total. The same king who restored the temple now starts compromising it. The man who followed God's ways now acts like any other power-hungry ruler. He completely stops listening to counsel and starts relying only on himself and his own power. And at this critical moment, the son of his old mentor, a man named Zechariah, he steps up. He actually confronts the king and warns him, hey, this new path you're on, it's going to lead to disaster. This is it. This is Jehoash's chance to turn back. But he doesn't take it. Instead, in an act of just stunning cruelty, King Jehoash orders Zechariah to be executed. He murders the son of the very man who saved him from being murdered as a baby. As Dr. Konkel puts it, the irony here is as deep as it is horrifying.
It's the question that just hangs over this whole story. I mean, how could that rescued child become this kind of monster? What could possibly explain a fall from grace that's this complete?
Well, for the chronicler, the answer is actually pretty simple. One word: pride. Jehoash started to believe that the power was his, that the success was all because of him. He completely forgot that he was just a steward of the kingdom. And, once you start to believe that you are the ultimate authority, then anyone who challenges you, even the son of your savior, becomes an enemy you have to get rid of.
And the really tragic part? This devastating pattern of pride, it doesn't end with Joash. It repeats itself in the very next generation.
Just look at this. You've got Jehoash and then his son Amaziah. And the parallels are just striking. Amaziah, he also starts out really well.
He secures his power, he even wins a big military victory. But that success, it goes straight to his head. He gets so convinced of his own greatness that he foolishly starts a war with a much, much stronger kingdom of Israel, gets completely crushed, and ends his reign in total disgrace. Just like his dad, a good start is totally undone by a fatal flaw.
So you see the pattern here, right? For both the father and the son, success wasn't the goal. It was the very thing that led to their downfall. It just fed their pride until it completely consumed them, leading them straight to ruin. And for Jehoash, his story ends when he's assassinated by his own officials, a direct result of the bitterness and resentment he created.
So after all that, what's the big idea? What is the ultimate principle the chronicler wants us to get from these two tragic stories?
It really all boils down to this one core concept, the throne of God. See, in the chronicler's view, the king of Judah wasn't an owner. He was more like a manager. He was sitting on a throne that actually belonged to God. The second a king forgot that, the moment he thought that throne was his, he was already headed for failure.
And that really is the chronicler's lesson, plain and simple. Trusting only in yourself and your own power, it just doesn't work. There are always consequences for unfaithfulness, and pride, if you let it go unchecked, will inevitably, always lead to a fall.
It's a question that echoes from this ancient story right into our world today. Doesn't matter if you're a king, a CEO, or a leader in your community, the story of Jehoash is this timeless warning that power is a trust, not a possession. And it leaves all of us with one final thought to chew on. What is the price we pay for pride?